You know what's hilarious? You probably think the reason you don't have money is because you don't make enough. But I need you to think about something that's going to make you uncomfortable. There's someone out there right now, someone earning half what you make, who has 10 times the financial security you do. Same cost of living, same access to the same stores, same temptations, same everything. The difference isn't their paycheck. It's what they understand about the actual cost of owning things. And you don't. Write in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is, so I can get to know you better. To support the channel for free, don't forget to subscribe and like. I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm saying it because once you see this, you can't unsee it, and it changes everything. See, most of us have been taught that budgeting is about tracking expenses, that financial success is about earning more, that the path forward is always more. More income, more raises, more side hustles. But nobody ever taught us that every single thing we own is actively extracting money from us. Right now, while you're watching this, while you're sleeping, constantly. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works. Let me tell you about 2 people I know. Not hypothetical, real people. The first one makes about $95,000 a year. Good job! Stable. The kind of income that's supposed to mean you're doing well, right? Walk into their apartment and you'll see proof of that income everywhere. Massive TV on the wall, expensive couch, kitchen full of gadgets that looked amazing on Instagram. Closets stuffed with clothes that still have tags on them. But here's the thing. This person is terrified. They check their bank account with actual dread. Because despite making almost 6 figures, they're 2 missed paychecks away from catastrophe. 2. That's it. Now, the second person makes $52,000, almost half as much. You'd expect their place to feel smaller, right? More cramped? Less comfortable? But when you walk in, what you notice first is space, breathing room. A couch that's perfectly fine, a TV that works, a kitchen with tools that actually get used, clothes that get worn. And you know what else? This person has 18 months of expenses saved. 18 months. They invest 20% of every single paycheck. Same city, same basic life. The person earning half has nearly 10 times the financial security. Now, before you start thinking this is some kind of minimalist guilt trip where I tell you to live in an empty room eating rice, it's not. This isn't about living like a monk. This is about understanding something that completely changed how I see money. Something that, once you get it, makes you feel like you've been living in the Matrix your whole life and nobody told you. If you're finding value in this, hit that subscribe button and drop a like. It genuinely helps me keep making these videos for you. Here's the concept that's going to rewire your brain. Everything you own costs you money twice. Everyone understands the first cost. That's the price tag, the receipt, the credit card charge. Easy. But there's a second cost. And this second cost is invisible to most people, which is exactly why it destroys them financially. The second cost is storage, maintenance, mental energy, and opportunity cost. Let me break this down, because it sounds abstract, but when you see it, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Let's say you bought a treadmill. You paid, $800 for it. That's the first cost. Done. But now that treadmill lives in your home, and space costs money. In most cities, residential space costs about $30 to $50 per square foot per year. A treadmill, when you account for the clearance you need around it, takes up about 20 square feet. That means you're paying $600 to $1,000 per year in implicit rent just to store that thing. And let's be honest, most treadmills become expensive coat racks within 6 months. But it gets worse. Let's talk about boats. You know the saying, the 2 happiest days of a boat owner's life are the day they buy it and the day they sell it? There's a reason for that. A $30,000 boat costs you about $3,000 per year just to own. That's the industry standard. Winterization, maintenance, registration, insurance, repairs. 10% of the boat's value every single year, even if you literally never take it out on the water. You didn't buy a boat. You bought a subscription to boat-related expenses. And then there's the mental cost. Every item you own takes up space in your brain. You have to remember where it is, keep it organized, clean it, maintain it, insure it, worry about it, and eventually figure out what to do with it when you don't want it anymore. There's actual research on this. Visual clutter increases your cortisol levels. It makes it harder for your brain to focus. Your stuff is literally stressing you out in ways you can't even consciously detect. But here's the cost that really gets me, the opportunity cost. Every dollar you spend on possessions is a dollar that could have been invested. That $15,000 home gym setup you bought? If you'd put that money into index funds instead, in 15 years it could be worth $50,000 or more. You didn't just buy a home gym, you bought a home gym instead of future financial freedom. When you add all this up, most things cost more to own than they cost to buy. The purchase price is just the entry fee. The real cost continues for as long as you possess the item. And this is what minimalists understand that most people don't. They're not avoiding stuff because they hate nice things. They're avoiding stuff because they've done the math and most things just aren't worth it. So let me give you the actual rules. These are the things that separate people who always have money from people who never do, regardless of how much they earn. Rule 1. Calculate cost per use before you buy anything. This one's simple, but devastating. Before you buy something, estimate how many times you'll actually use it. Be honest. Then divide the total cost by that number. A $200 jacket you wear twice costs you $100 per wear. A $400 jacket you wear 200 times costs $2 per wear. Which one's actually expensive? This calculation kills most impulse purchases immediately. That $300 kitchen gadget you'll use twice a year? That's $150 per use. That's insane. You could hire someone to cook you a gourmet meal for less than that. But a $2,000 mattress you sleep on every night for 10 years? That's about 55 cents per use. That's extraordinary value for something that affects your health and energy every single day. The math cuts through everything. It cuts through marketing. It cuts through emotion. It cuts through what your friends think you should have.
It just shows you what's actually worth it. Rule 2. Apply the replacement test to everything you own. Walk through your home right now. In your mind, just picture each room.
And for every item you see, ask yourself one question. If this disappeared today, would I spend money to replace it? Be brutally honest. Would you buy another fondue set? Would you replace that bread maker you haven't touched in 18 months? Would you repurchase those clothes you keep meaning to wear but never do? For most things, the answer is no. You wouldn't replace them. They exist in your life through inertia, not intention. They're remnants of past versions of you. Impulse purchases. Gifts you felt guilty throwing away.
These items have negative value. They're costing you space, mental energy, and time without giving you anything back. Every hour you spend organizing stuff you wouldn't replace is an hour stolen from your actual life.
When you remove everything that fails this test, something shifts. Rooms feel bigger. Decisions feel simpler. Cleaning takes half the time. You actually know where everything is, because everything that remains has a purpose. Rule 3. Never upgrade out of boredom. This is the one that traps high earners. They make good money, so they think they can afford to upgrade, and technically they can, but that doesn't mean they should. Your phone works perfectly, but there's a new model with a slightly better camera. Your TV is fine, but the new one has better contrast. Your car runs great, but the New Year's model looks cooler. These aren't upgrades. They're wealth destruction disguised as progress. Here's the policy. Never replace something that functions properly. And functions properly has a very specific definition. It means the item can still do the job it was designed to do. Boredom is not failure. Wanting something shinier is not failure. The existence of a newer model is not failure. Actual mechanical breakdown is failure. The average American replaces their phone every 2 to 3 years. Most of those phones were working perfectly fine. Over 30 years, that pattern alone costs $30,000 to $50,000 in unnecessary purchases. And that's just phones. Apply this across every category where upgrade culture operates: cars, electronics, furniture, appliances, and the lifetime waste easily exceeds $200,000. $200,000. Think about what that could have been. That's financial independence. That's freedom. That's options. But instead, it's gadgets you got bored of. Rule 4. Create friction for spending and ease for saving. Human beings follow the path of least resistance. If spending is easy and saving is hard, you'll spend. If saving is easy and spending is hard, you'll save. It's not about willpower. Willpower runs out. You can't white-knuckle your way through life. You need to engineer your environment. Spending friction looks like removing your credit card numbers from Amazon and every other online store, deleting shopping apps from your phone, unsubscribing from promotional emails. Saving ease looks like automatic transfers to your investment account on payday, treating savings like a fixed expense, not an afterthought, making the money disappear before you even see it. That 24-hour rule alone eliminates about 70% of impulse purchases. Most desires for objects fade within a day if you don't act on them immediately. You're not fighting yourself. You're designing a system where good decisions happen automatically. Rule 5. Count your possessions regularly. This sounds obsessive, I know, but hear me out. Counting forces awareness, and awareness prevents accumulation. Pick a category. Count how many items you own. Write it down. The numbers shock people. How many shirts do you own? Most people guess low and discover they have 3 or 4 times what they thought. Once you know you own 47 shirts, buying another one feels different. You're not adding a shirt, you're bringing your collection to 48. Set maximum thresholds, maybe 30 items of clothing total. Maybe a one-in, one-out policy, where any new purchase requires removing something you... Without intentional limits, possessions expand to fill available space. With limits, every addition requires a conscious decision. Rule 6. Rent or borrow before you buy. Most things people purchase get used intensively for a short period and then rarely afterward. The excitement fades, the enthusiasm decreases, the item joins the graveyard of forgotten hobbies. Want to get into camping? Rent equipment first. Want to try woodworking? Borrow tools or use a makerspace. Want to kayak? Rent it several times before you commit. This does 2 things. First, it reveals whether your enthusiasm is genuine or temporary. A lot of interests fade after the initial exploration. Second, it clarifies exactly what you need. First-time campers always buy too much or buy the wrong things. Renting lets you learn before committing. Closets and garages across this country are museums of abandoned hobbies. Ski equipment, photography gear. Test your interests before you invest in them. Rule 7. Understand the lifestyle multiplier effect. Every major purchase connects to other purchases. A purchase that seems singular actually triggers a cascade of related. You buy a boat. Now you need a trailer, a vehicle that can tow it, storage fees, maintenance supplies, safety equipment, appropriate clothing. A home gym requires flooring, mirrors, storage, ventilation, sometimes renovations. A pool requires chemicals, cleaning equipment, cover. The true cost is never just the item itself. A $5,000 purchase might actually represent $8,000 or $12,000 when you include everything it requires. And this works in reverse too.
Eliminating one major possession often eliminates an entire ecosystem of related expenses. Selling the boat means no more storage, insurance, registration, maintenance. The savings extend far beyond the boat's value.
Rule 8. Define enough before you start earning. High earners fall into this trap constantly. They never define what enough looks like, so they keep purchasing more without ever arriving at satisfaction. Their income increases. They upgrade their lifestyle. The new lifestyle becomes normal, so they need another income increase to feel progress. The cycle continues forever. People earning $300,000 feel just as financially stressed as people earning $80,000 because their expectations and expenses expanded alongside their income. You have to define enough in advance. What kind of home is sufficient? What kind of car meets your needs? What level of comfort constitutes genuine satisfaction? Then you earn toward that target instead of constantly moving the goalpost. This might mean deciding a $350,000 home is enough, even if you could eventually afford $600,000. It might mean deciding a $30,000 car is enough, even when your colleagues try. Defining enough creates a finish line. Without it, you're running an endless race where lifestyle expansion always outpaces income growth. The person who defined enough at $60,000 of annual spending, they build wealth at an extraordinary rate. That $90,000 difference goes straight to financial freedom. Rule 9. Measure wealth by optionality, not accumulation. Most people measure wealth by what they have. Houses, cars, visible markers of success. But real wealth is measured by what you can choose. Can you leave a job that's destroying your mental health? Can you take 6 months off for a family emergency? Can you move cities for a relationship? Can you start a business without guaranteed income? Can you retire before 65? Can you say no to opportunities that pay well but compromise your values? These options are only available to people who've built substantial margin between their income and expenses. The person earning $200,000 but spending $195,000 has almost no optionality. They're chained to their income requirement. The person earning $80,000 but spending $45,000 has extraordinary optionality. They can absorb disruptions, take risks, make choices based on preference rather than financial necessity. The money tied up in a car you don't need is money that can't buy your freedom when you need it. Each purchase isn't just exchanging money for an object, it's trading optionality for possession. Is this item worth reducing your ability to make free choices about your life? Rule 10. Practice cyclical decluttering, not annual purging. Most people do a massive purge once, feel great, and then gradually accumulate back to where they started. Within 2 years, they're right back where they began. Instead, do small, regular reviews, weekly glances at incoming items, monthly evaluation of one category, quarterly assessment of overall trends. Removing 3 items per week is manageable. Removing 300 items once a year feels overwhelming and gets postponed. The cyclical approach also maintains awareness. You notice patterns. You see which categories grow. You identify which emotional states trigger purchases. You recognize which marketing tactics work on you. This enables prevention, not just treatment. If you've made it this far, seriously, subscribe and like this video. It tells me this kind of content matters to you. Let me give you something practical you can start today. This week, walk through your home with a replacement test. Identify 10 items you wouldn't replace if they disappeared. Sell them, donate them, or throw them away. Notice how it feels. This month, implement the 24-hour rule for all non-essential purchases. Track how many desires survive the wait versus how many evaporate. The data will show you how much of your spending is impulsive. This quarter, count your possessions in 3 categories: clothing, kitchen items, and entertainment. Set maximum thresholds based on what you actually use. This year, define what enough looks like. What home is sufficient? What transportation is adequate? What wardrobe meets your needs? Write it down. Refer to it when temptation strikes. Here's what nobody tells you about minimalism and money. The relationship goes both ways. Owning less creates more money, but having more money also makes owning less feel natural.
When your savings are robust and your investments are growing, the urge to accumulate diminishes. The psychological need that drives most consumption, the need for security, for status, gets satisfied by financial strength instead of physical possession. You don't need the stuff to feel successful because your bank account already tells the story you want to hear. People trapped in consumption cycles often can't explain why they buy so much. The truth is usually that spending it temporarily fills the emotional void that financial insecurity creates. Address the insecurity through actual financial strength, and the compulsion often dissolves on its own. This creates a virtuous cycle. Spending less leads to saving more. Saving more creates security. Security reduces the emotional drive to spend. Reduced spending accelerates saving further. Each turn reinforces the next. The opposite cycle is just as powerful but destructive. Spending everything creates insecurity. Insecurity drives more spending. More spending deepens insecurity. The cycle continues until something breaks. High earners trapped in the destructive cycle build nothing. Modest earners riding the virtuous cycle build everything. The rules I've outlined aren't about suffering. They're about recognizing that most consumption doesn't actually improve life satisfaction. Research shows that beyond a baseline of security and comfort, additional purchases contribute minimally to well-being. Yet most people spend as if happiness scales with spending. Align your behavior with reality. Spend enough to be comfortable. Then redirect the excess toward freedom, not accumulation. You end up with less stuff and more life. Remember those two people I told you about at the beginning? The one earning $52,000 with 18 months of savings didn't get there through exceptional income. They got there through exceptional clarity about what actually matters. The one earning $95,000, whose 2 paychecks from crisis, never questioned the assumption that more stuff equals a better life. Both lifestyles are available to you, regardless of what you currently earn. The choice is simple. Do you want to own your possessions, or do you want your possessions to own you? The math strongly favors the first option. So does the peace of mind. Subscribe to the channel if this helped you see things differently. Hit that like button. And telling in the comments, what's one thing you own that you wouldn't replace if it disappeared tomorrow? I'll see you in the next one.